Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Every so often I like to take a break from calling out corporate bullshit and sympathizing with the struggle of entry-level workers, and I like to make a video here and there that does more to reflect my political beliefs. It's no secret that I despise capitalism. I've had a lot of ridiculous and some senseless things happen to me because of corporate and systemic greed, sloth, and gluttony that have made me thirsty for the blood of the ruling class. One thing I can't say that I've experienced firsthand, however, is war, and being the subject of a genocide. I am of half Irish and half Native American descent. One heritage knows what it's like to be under the boot of a brutal imperialist regime. The other knows what it's like to be gradually forced out of their homes and eradicated, and their respective plights are not forgotten on me. But today isn't about me. Recently, I learned about Israel's concentration camps, and specifically about the rapes being committed by the invading IDF onto the Palestinian people, and primarily women. To socialists, it matters little to us whether Hamas or the government of Palestine are themselves socialists. It does not matter if they express anti-socialist or anti-communist beliefs. We see what is going on in Palestine, the death, the destruction, the tragedies, some of which the IDF has broadcast themselves carrying out and shown off to the world on every video streaming platform, YouTube and TikTok included. And we see this as an abhorrent evil that needs to be crumpled up and thrown into the flames of change. The IDF, their actions being sanctioned, allowed by the Israeli government, has done nothing but kill innocent human beings that have no ties to Hamas, caused needless destruction across the Gaza Strip, and have tormented, tortured, and traumatized 2.4 million people because of what? A resistance militia taking a stand and fighting back in the name of protecting their people and taking back what is rightfully theirs. With Israel being the pet project of the United States, it comes as unfortunate but unsurprising to socialists and anti-Zionists alike that our government is seeking to synonymize anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism, having passed a resolution and now attempting to sign a bill into law to join the Sedition Act and the Patriot Act as contradictions to the First Amendment. While I personally enjoy speaking and expressing myself freely, I do not support the right to spread misinformation that has already been debunked with statistical and historical fact. That brings me to today's topic. I'm going to be going over 3 lies you have heard about anti-Zionists and anti-Zionism, and reveal what the truth is. As usual, I'll try to show screenshots of my sources and provide links in the description. The first lie is one that I've already mentioned in the video, because it's just so common that you can't really mention anti-Zionism without having to argue why you're not an anti-Semite. Yes, the first lie that I will be covering is that anti-Zionism is the same as anti-Semitism, or is anti-Semitic in nature. Just a quick thumbing through a dictionary should be enough to disprove this. According to Cambridge, the definition of anti-Zionism is, quote, beliefs or activities that are opposed to Zionism, Zionism being, quote, a political movement that aimed to create a country for Jewish people and now supports the state of Israel. A country for Jewish people. It says nothing about Jewish people themselves. Anti-Semitism, meanwhile, is defined by the same dictionary as being, quote, hate directed at Jewish people or cruel or unfair treatment of people because they are Jewish. So let's review. Anti-Zionism opposes the movement that created a Jewish ethno-state in the region of Palestine and that supports Israel. Anti-Semitism is the hate of people that are ethnically Jewish. Again, anti-Zionism is opposition to the Israeli state. Anti-Semitism is hatred of the Jewish people. Now, let's drive the point home. Anti-Zionists oppose Israel no matter who rules the country. Anti-Semites hate Jews no matter what their status is or what they rule. Unfortunately, we're still going to be mislabeled as neo-Nazis because our viewpoints go against something to do with Judaism. I don't doubt that there are neo-Nazis that claim to be anti-Zionists, but they represent a very small percentage of us. Socialists see anti-Zionism as a branch of anti-imperialism. There is no country on this planet right now that shows more similarities to Nazi Germany than Israel does. You need only search Palestine on X and scroll, and you will see. You know it's fucking true when the so-called International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance has to include comparing Israel to Nazi Germany in their definition of anti-Semitism. With this logic, I must be prejudiced against Russians because I oppose Vladimir Putin. I must also be racist against Japanese people because I oppose the imperial government of Japan. I will not apologize for stating the obvious. Israel has earned being compared to the Nazis, and Zionists ought to be held to the same standard as Holocaust deniers. There are Jews that are anti-Zionists. Don't believe me? Here. Are these people anti-Semitic? Are they Nazis? Or let me guess, they're being forced to hold these signs or faking their condemnation of Israel. Don't be stupid. It is in no way racist to protest against an empire or client state of an empire brutalizing and conquering a foreign land and its people. It's like if a group of Germans decided to go to Kaliningrad and reclaim it by destroying everything in their wake and murdering every last Russian there. Stop shielding yourself from the truth and stop acting like just because you don't know these people personally that all Jewish support for Palestine is fake. As for the Judaic faith, I am irreligious. You cannot make me feel bad for being irreligious. I do not believe in Yahweh or the devil or that Moses parted the Red Sea. Deal with it. Another lie that is typically propagated by Zionists is that anti-Zionists are supporters of terrorism, specifically of the Islamic variety. Hamas is designated as a terrorist group by Argentina, Australia, Canada, the European Union, Israel, New Zealand, Paraguay, the United Kingdom, and wouldn't you know it, the United States. Here's the thing though, and it doesn't really take a third eye to notice this, all of these countries are either imperialist powers or settler states, and all of them are liberal bourgeois dictatorships. There are no proletarian dictatorships, there are no African countries or Arab countries, no China, no Iran, and not even South Africa, a former apartheid regime. When white liberal nations are the only people calling something terrorist, don't you think that the definition of terrorism may just be a little bit skewed? Just a little? And that maybe they're just trying to justify imperialism? I guess I'm not really proving anything here, but rather confronting this lie. Is it a lie? I feel like this is more slander than anything. If you can't take my word for it here, that I do not support Islamic extremists that carry out large-scale attacks on innocent Western civilians just because I support the Palestinian freedom fighters and not the Israeli invaders, then nothing is going to convince you that anti-Zionists do not support Islamic extremism. But let me ask you this. Has Hamas ever attacked outside of Israel? No, they have not. They have only ever fought to protect what little the Palestinian Arabs have left, and resist settler oppression. Maybe they've funded or supplied actual terrorist organizations such as ISIS or Al-Qaeda. Is the United States any better though? Is staging anti-communist coups and ousting fairly elected socialist leaders and installing fascist puppet regimes any better? Is using the atomic bomb against 2 large cities and vaporizing over 200,000 innocent civilians of an enemy nation any better than anything Islamic extremists have done? I would argue that it is not. We can also look at the fact that Israel was founded on stolen land and have invaded Egypt, Syria, Lebanon, and threatened Iran with nuclear strikes. It sounds to me like the IDF and Israeli government are the real terrorists here. But the way the term terrorist is weaponized by liberals and fascists alike makes change almost impossible. You can no longer have a revolution without being labeled as terrorists. It doesn't matter whether or not you claim to be left-wing. It doesn't matter if the working people do it now or in 1,000 years. The proletarian uprising will be slapped with the terrorist organization label by the United States and her allies. Any kind of peasant uprising today would be labeled as a terrorist insurgency. The Native American tribes that fought back and tried to resist manifest destiny? Terrorists. Hell, the Russian Red Army, if the Russian Revolution were just now taking place, would be designated as a terrorist organization. Anything that threatens capitalist hegemony and upends the sick, greedy interests of imperialists is going to be labeled as terrorist. The last one is a lie that isn't really directed at anti-Zionists or anti-Zionism, but is one that Zionists believe in general. The lie is that what Israel is doing is in fact not genocide. Do I really have to explain this? Or can I just show everyone that just a few of the videos that have been regurgitated by the IDF as they slaughter and bomb their way through Gaza, and then show the videos of fearful children looking for their parents after the attack, and the hundreds of grief-stricken Palestinians after learning that their entire family was vanquished? 2.4 million people packed into an area the size of Detroit, a city that holds 639,000, or about a quarter as many people as the Gaza Strip. At the beginning of the video, I showed a screenshot of a headline that read, "Inside the base where Israel has detained thousands of Gazans." Is military base not just a euphemism for concentration camp? The use of white phosphorus, engaging in chemical warfare. Nobody has to fake anything when the evidence is all right there at your fingertips on X, on TikTok, on YouTube, on pretty much every major social media platform. And then the IDF has the nerve to use sex appeal to try to distract from their atrocities. Pure degeneracy. If a woman's ass or a pretty face is enough to make you instantly forget about the war crimes these monsters are committing, then I hate to say you're not worth living. Just because the Jews were once the target of one of the worst atrocities mankind has ever seen, this does not absolve them of being able to commit atrocities themselves. You don't see people calling those that rightfully condemn Nazi Germany for the Holocaust Germanophobes. Call this what this is. It is an ethnic cleansing of the Gaza Strip carried out by the Israeli state onto the native Arabs of the region of Palestine. It is but one chapter of the destruction and genocide that the Israeli state and her puppet masters wish to rain down onto the region and natives of Palestine and the rest of the Arab world. But make no mistake, if it wasn't already the case before last year, then it is now that Israel has radicalized 2.4 million people, and there will be a reckoning when the people of Gaza rise against their oppressors and exact their vengeance and take back what is rightfully theirs. In summary, Zionists have weaponized the term anti-Semite to vilify anyone that speaks out against Israeli atrocities. The US government, in a bid to curb the rise of anti-Zionist sentiment and anti-imperialist sentiment as a whole, is aiming to crack down on pro-Palestine, pro protests and speech, and the decrying of the Israeli perpetrated genocide. Zionists have also weaponized the term terrorism and use it as an Islamophobic and Arabophobic tool to vilify Hamas, the PLO, the Palestinian state, and Palestinians in general. Zionists look at what Israel is doing and defend it by saying that Israel is only reclaiming the ancestral homeland of the Jews. With all races and faiths, there are decent people, and there are also abhorrent monsters. Anti-Zionists distinguish the monsters that are murdering their way through Gaza and razing the entire exclave to the ground from well-meaning Jewish people. Jewish people are capable of rejecting and condemning the state that was made specifically for them. Believe it or not, there are elements of Zionism that are anti-Semitic, such as deporting Jewish people to the region of Palestine and with the deliberate intent of fanning the flames of conflict between Jewish people in Palestine and the local Arabs. Of course, I probably won't change any minds with this video. Zionists will continue to live in denial and peddle Arabophobic propaganda and ignorant mindsets and blindly hate the Palestinian nation and people. If you think that mercilessly slaughtering tens of thousands of innocent people, raping the women, bludgeoning the men, and starving the children is okay, then I have nothing to say to you. As for the anti-Zionists, there is no reason that we should be cowering in fear. Nothing short of arresting and executing every single one of us should be enough to stop the protests against our nation's government's funding and supplying the Israeli apartheid regime. We must never retreat from demanding Israel face justice, and we must never cease our calls for Palestinian liberation. I hope that this video has proven informative. I encourage people to educate themselves on this matter and to dig deeper. Review the links in the description and be sure to check out other channels that make this kind of content. JT Chapman has made plenty of content on this issue. He's the person behind Second Thought as well as the main man behind First Thought. He also runs a podcast called The Deprogram with Hakeem and Ugopnik, both of whom have also made videos regarding the Israeli genocide against the people of Palestine. With that, I'm going to go on ahead and sign off. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to click thumbs up, share the video with your friends, leave your thoughts in the comments below, discourse is encouraged, and please subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, as there will be more. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye guys.